So today we're going to talk about four very important concepts that you need to understand about pay-per-click advertising, about online advertising, particularly as a freight broker. Secondly, I'm going to show you some examples, actual examples of freight brokers advertising online. And then third, I'm going to share with you some ideas and some data and some information in and around how much it could cost, right? How much it would cost. And last, I'm going to share with you exactly how investing in that channel of online paid advertising can turn $1 into potentially $10 or more. Okay? So that would be a pretty good return on investment, right? All right, so here we go, guys. First of all, I think the best way to start is to actually share with you some examples of freight brokers that are advertising online. So let me share my screen real quick. All right, so this is what we call Google Keyword Planner. This is Google, obviously, is the largest search engine in the world. The way they predominantly make money is by selling advertising online. The majority of that advertising is pay-per-click advertising, okay? So here's an example. Let me show you an example. So you should be seeing here where it says Google, and then next to it, it says freight quote. This is a search that I did before we went live. And you can see here at the top of the page, there's multiple ads before you get down to the organic search results. See, these are search results that are based upon, they are not paid ads. These are based upon website being indexed and being ranked organically. But these were everything that says ad, these are all paid advertising. And each one of these advertisers is paying per click to have a potential advertiser, someone that's searching for this term, freight quote, to click through to their website and submit a quote. So not only are the top full of these ads, but also at the very bottom of the results, these are also ads. You notice Coyote Logistics, you notice Unishipper, right? You notice all these different advertisers, and they rotate, right? They're going to be different people, different companies are going to be advertising. There's a whole bunch of people that advertise in this channel. So those are examples of brokers that are and carriers potentially that are advertising in this Google channel, right? So it goes to show you, if I were to do another search like flatbed freight quote, you'll see some of the same advertisers, but you'll also see different advertisers. Now you see Coyote up here at the top. You're going to probably see some different advertisers at the bottom. And here's some other ones. You see this one, which is newtransportation.com. You see USA Truckload Shipping. You see Freight Terra. So these are all different advertisers that are paying for paid ads online, right? Through Google. Now, why are they doing that? They're doing that as a way to generate leads that they can then convert into customers. So the next step. So what I want to go over next is I want to share with you some ideas of how much it costs and where you can go to do some research. So if you have a Google account, which most people do, like a Gmail or a Google account, you can set up a Google Ads account for free. It costs you nothing. If you set up a Google Ads account, you then have access to what's called your keyword planner. This keyword planner allows you to put in search terms like we showed on the other screen, which is the primary term that we were searching for was freight quote. And it will bring back data. It will bring back results based upon that search term. So you can see right here that the keyword freight quote, or the key phrase freight quote, average monthly searches gets between 10,000 and 100,000 searches per month. Now they give you a range because it ranges from day to day, week to week, month to month. And they're not going to give you an exact, but they give you a range. That's a lot of people searching for freight quote. That's the last 30 days. Okay. Competition is medium. And you can see here the top of page bid the low range and the high range. The low range for this term is $7.83 per click. So that means if you want to be towards the top of the screen, you're going to pay $7.83 per click. If you want to be the top range of the screen, you're going to pay up to $24.53 per click. Now, what does that tell you? What that should tell you and what that should scream to you is that if an advertiser is willing to pay up to $24 per click, that means that they're getting a significant return on their investment. So that's, for example, if an advertiser is paying up to $24 a click and they were to get 100 clicks, that would mean that they would have paid $2,400 for those clicks. Now, not all of those clicks are going to turn into leads. Not all of those leads are going to turn into customers, but they're willing to invest $2,400 for 100 people to click through to their site. Again, what that should scream to you is that if they're willing to invest that amount of money, then they are getting a significant return on their investment. I would assume at least 3 to 5 to maybe as much as 10 times or more in their first year with that new customer that they're getting through this paid advertising channel, right? So that's, and you can also see down here, it will also give you other suggested keywords that you can advertise for. So, you've got things like UPS freight quote and FedEx freight quote and freight shipping quote, and you've got all these different terms, LTL quote and DHL quote. These are all terms that people search for. You can see these aren't searched for as often, and you can see these are the more popular searches, right? And you can directly compete with all of those advertisers by setting up a free Google ad account, doing your keyword research plan, and putting an ad together and testing it. Now, this gives you an idea of the per click cost. But what I want to show you is what Google is giving me as an estimate on how much it would cost to run a campaign. So here's an example of a Google ad campaign based upon the keywords and based upon all the data that they have. So what they're saying is I could get 580 clicks to my website, which obviously would be some sort of a landing page where they would be able to fill out a quote request in this case, right? Because of this keyword, out of a total 7,200 impressions, total cost about $1,200, right? With a daily budget of $60, average click-through of 8.1%. At an average cost per click of $2. Now that means that you don't have to pay $24 per click, but some advertisers are paying that much per click. So in this campaign, what it's showing is that you could invest $1,200 into a campaign or less, right? You could invest $1,200 into a campaign, get 580 clicks to your website. Now, how many of those convert into freight quote leads? And then how many of those freight quote leads convert into sales? A lot of that depends upon you. And a lot of it depends upon your ability to set up that sales funnel, right? So you can see here, you don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars. You don't need $50,000 to test and start advertising as a freight broker. Now, some of you are very new to freight brokering, and that's okay. You may not be ready for this, but I want to educate you and I want you to open your eyes to the potential of being able to advertise online, right? There's more to building a successful freight broker than simply smiling and dialing all day long. This is the secret that big brokers don't want you to know, all right? And so this is the reason why I'm sharing this today. I wanted you to understand that there is other options out there. Now, I'm not saying that cold calling doesn't work, and I'm not saying that using social selling like I teach a lot doesn't work. But what I'm saying is there are more opportunities to generate leads leveraging the internet than most brokers have any clue about, right? So I shared with you examples of pay-per-click ads that brokers are using. I shared with you the cost per click, range based upon specific keywords. I shared with you a plan that Google has estimated would generate over 580 clicks to your website, which then would convert into freight quote leads, which then would convert into customers based upon your follow-up and your ability to sell them on the back end. And so that's the basic framework of what I wanted to share with you. But there are 4 very important concepts that you need to understand that I'm going to go over now. I'm going to share with you four very important concepts that you need to understand before you ever dive into paid advertising. So this is where you're going to get a little bit educated about how to do paid ads. But what I can't do today, unfortunately, is I can't teach you step by step how to set up a paid ad campaign. There's just not enough time, right? Unfortunately, there's not enough time. So let's talk about, if you're curious about getting started, if you haven't been through my program, feel free to just go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com and check that out. So the 4 things that you need to understand are this. Number 1, what does the term PPC stand for? Now, we've already talked about it a little bit, but what it stands for is pay per click. Now, I showed you in that example with the different advertisers, if you were to click on that ad, it would bring you through to their website. And for every time a potential buyer or someone searching on Google clicks on that ad, that advertiser is going to get charged a pay-per-click fee, right? You saw where they can go from anywhere from $2 up to maybe $25 or more per click. That's pay per click. That's what that stands for. That's number 1. That's the easiest one, okay? Number 2 that you need to understand is what's called your CAC, C-A-C. That is your customer acquisition cost. That means how much are you investing to acquire one customer? So how much is it costing you to acquire one customer? So understanding that customer acquisition cost is very important. So if you're spending $5 to acquire a customer, or you're spending $5,000 to acquire a customer, those are 2 totally different customer acquisition costs. Now, they both might be worth it, but that depends on the third term, which is LTV, lifetime value, right? So what is the LTV of your average shipper? So what is the lifetime value of that average shipper? And the way you will calculate that is you'll take your shipping, the total number of shippers that you have over a given period of time, right? Divided by the amount of revenue you're doing, right? Total revenue. So if you take the total revenue and let's say it's 100, I'm just going to use easy math. If it's $100,000 in revenue and you had 10 shippers that were doing that, that means the average monthly revenue for that shipper would be $10,000. So that would mean your average monthly revenue. Now your lifetime value is going to be that average divided by the length of time an average customer is with you. If they're with you for 3 months, it's $30,000. If they're with you for 3 years, which is probably more realistic, it would be 36 times 10,000, which would be $3.6 million. Okay? So I want you to understand, very important. We talked about pay-per-click. We talked about CAC, which is your customer acquisition cost, which is the total cost you invest divided by the number of customers, which is your customer acquisition cost. And then we talked about lifetime value, which is the lifetime value of that shipper. Now, what you have to understand, this is really important, is that first, let me go over the fourth term, which is ROAS, R-O-A-S, right? And which stands for return on ad spend. So if you invested, let's say you invested $1,000 into paid advertising, like the Google campaign that I showed you earlier suggested, you invested $1,000 into paid advertising, and out of that, you got one shipper that generated 10,000, one small shipper that was generating 10,000 per year in profit. That's one load a week. An average truckload, one load a week would generate over, that's a small shipper, would generate over $10,000 in profit per year. So that would mean you would have turned $1,000 into $10,000. So that would be your ROAS. That would be your return on ad spend, okay, in the first year. Now, if that advertiser continued to advertise with you, then that lifetime value continues to go up over time. So I don't want to confuse you, but I do want you to understand the basic concepts of pay-per-click, customer acquisition cost, lifetime value of a shipper, and ROAS as it pertains to paid advertising, which is return on ad spend, right? So these are all complex concepts that you need to understand. They're really not that complex. They may be new to some of you, but it's very important that you understand the fundamentals. So let's talk about that example that I just shared with you, which is if you invested $1,000, we're going to break this down into ads, into advertising on Google. And out of that 1,000, you were able to generate one new small shipper that was going to do one load per week, just one load per week. Okay. That would equate to, on average, if it's a full truckload shipper, on average, you're going to earn more than $10,000 in profit, not revenue, profit from that shipper. That would mean you would be turning $1,000 into $10,000. So the question is, if you could do that, would you invest $1,000? Yes or no? How long would you invest that $1,000? Because again, if you can turn 1,000 into 10,000 in your first year, the lifetime value of that client could literally be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit in your pocket, right? But again, online paid advertising is not something that most brokers are familiar with. It's definitely not something they're comfortable with, and it's definitely not something that they fully understand. So today, this training is designed simply to open your eyes to the potential opportunity. Again, I can't walk you through an exact ad campaign. I can't walk you through step by step how to create the ad, how to create the landing page, how to do your keyword research. I shared with you examples of freight brokers that are already doing pay-per-click ads. I shared with you the cost range of those keywords and how to research keywords. I shared with you, all of that information plus those 4 primary concepts. So I hope that this helps you open your eyes as to the opportunities that are out there online to generate more shipper leads and more shipper revenue through online paid advertising. So if any of you are curious about becoming a freight broker or freight agent, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. I've trained over 7,000 students to become brokers and agents through that online course. It's a go at your own pace, self-directed course. It's the most cost-effective and comprehensive online course there. And we offer a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. If you're not happy for any reason, you get your money back. Okay? I can't make it any easier than that. freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Feel free to check that out. Again, trained over 7,000 brokers. We add up I think in the last 30 days, we've added 150 new students to the course that are now taking that. That's an every month deal, right? So you can go in, once you enroll, you get instant access to all of the training, all of the bonuses, everything, the videos, the articles, the contracts, everything you need, okay? So check that out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope I've opened your eyes as to how paid advertising works. Have an awesome day, and we'll talk soon. See you next week.